So in the last class, yesterday, I have discussed about the ileum part of hip bone. You all know that hip bone is made up of three parts. One is the ileum, number two is the ischium, number three is the pubis. So among these three, yesterday I have discussed with you people regarding the ileum, right?
Yes, sir.
Now for today, we will discuss about the other part of the ileum, which is the pubis. Okay. So pubis, if you see in the hip, on the hip bone, see yesterday we have discussed about this part. This is the ileum and this is the pubis, this one. Can you see this part? This is the pubis. So pubis of two hip bones will join together to form a secondary cartilaginous joint, which is called as what?
Pubic symphysis.
Pubic
Pubic
symphysis. Very good. Pubic symphysis. So these people are disturbing me in the middle. Yeah. So pubis is it is antero-inferior part of the hip bone. So once when you hold the bone in position, this pubis is situated anteriorly and inferiorly. So it is an antero-inferior part of the hip bone. It forms anterior 2/5, anterior 1/5 of the acetabulum as well as anterior boundary of obturator foramen. Now, if you see here, this is a pubis. Yes, in the slide you are seeing this is pubis. So pubis is forming about anterior 1/3, 1/5 of this acetabular fossa, and not only that, it is forming the anterior boundary of the obturator. This one, can you see here? This one.
Yes, sir.
It is forming the anterior boundary of the obturator foramen, and it is forming 1/5 of anterior part of the acetabular fossa. So this red color structure, this is the pubis, and this pubis is having three things. It has got three features. One is a body. It has got a superior ramus. It has got an inferior ramus. So it has got three parts. One is this is the body, which I am pointing you. This is the body of the ramus. This is the body of the pubis. This is superior ramus, and this is the inferior ramus. So pubis has got a body, and it has got a superior ramus. It has got an inferior ramus. Yeah. Now, what the features we see in detail about the body? So body, this body of the pubis, if you see, it has got a pubic crest, it has got a pubic tubercle, and it has got three surfaces, namely anterior, posterior, and medial. So the body of the pubis, this is the body of the pubis. This body of the pubis has got a pubic crest, it has got the pubic tubercle, it has got three surfaces, anterior, posterior, and medial. This is anterior surface. Behind this is the posterior surface, and this is which is facing medially. This is the medial surface, or this surface is also called as symphyseal surface. So anterior surface, posterior surface, and medial surface. We will talk about in detail about what is crest, what is tubercle. The pubic crest, if you see, this is the superior border of the body of the pubis. So on the body of the pubis, you are seeing the superior border, the upper border. The superior border of the body of the pubis is called as pubic crest, and this pubic crest is providing attachment to the anterior wall of rectus sheath, and not only that, a conjoint tendon is attached to it. So this pubic crest is nothing but the upper border of the body of the pubis is called as pubic crest, and this gives attachment, or this provides attachment to the anterior wall of rectus sheath, and not only that, it also provides attachment to a ligament which is conjoint tendon. It is also giving attachment to the conjoint tendon. And not only that, This is also giving attachment to the muscles like lateral head of rectus abdominis muscle and also the pyramidalis muscle. These are all the muscles we see in the anterior abdominal wall. So the lateral wall of, sorry, the lateral head of rectus abdominis and as well as the pyramidalis, these two muscles are taking origin from the pubic crest. Is it fine? So pubic crest is nothing but this is the superior border of the body of the pubis, and this border is giving attachment to the anterior wall of rectus sheath. It is also giving attachment to a tendon, which is a conjoint tendon. And not only that, this is also giving origin to two muscles. One is the lateral head of rectus abdominis muscle and as well as the pyramidalis muscle. Yeah. Now, what is this pubic tubercle? This pubic tubercle, it is the lateral end of the pubic crest. Now, if you see here, see this is the body of the pubis. The upper border of the body of pubis is called as pubic crest. If you move your finger laterally from this pubic crest, you are seeing a tubercle over here. Can you see this tubercle?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Tubercle. So this tubercle is called as pubic tubercle. This tubercle is called as pubic tubercle, and this pubic tubercle, it gives attachment to the inguinal ligament. That's what I told you, right? Inguinal ligament extends from where to where? It extends from where to where? Any idea, anybody?
Inferior spine.
Sorry,
Anterior superior iliac.
Anterior superior iliac.
you can see this one. This is anterior superior iliac spine. From this anterior superior iliac spine, can you see this ligament extending like this, which is attached to pubic tubercle? Yes.
Yes, sir.
This ligament is called as inguinal ligament. It is written here, inguinal ligament. So this pubic tubercle is nothing but which is a prominent bony feature which you see just lateral to this pubic crest, and this pubic tubercle will give attachment to a ligament which is called as the inguinal ligament. It extends like this from the anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle. You see like this, it extends. Here is a pubic tubercle. So this is extension of the inguinal ligament. Not only that, this pubic tubercle, it also acts as an important landmark in the pubic region. And in males, this pubic tubercle is crossed by the spermatic cord. It is crossed by the spermatic cord. This is about the pubic crest and pubic tubercle. Okay. Now, next is this body of pubis has got surfaces. It has got an anterior surface. It has got a posterior surface. It has got a
Medial surface.
medial surface. See, in the previous slide, I told you the body of the pubis comprises of pubic crest, pubic tubercle, and three surfaces. I told you what is pubic crest. I told you what is pubic tubercle. Now I'm talking about the surfaces of the body of the pubis. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the three surfaces, as I named, anterior, posterior, and medial. The anterior surface of the pubic body of the pubis, it gives origin to the muscles like adductor longus, adductor brevis, gracilis, and obturator externus. Okay, so adductor longus muscle will take origin from the anterior surface. The gracilis muscle will take origin from the anterior surface. Adductor brevis is attached to this anterior surface of the body of the pubis. Okay, not only that, the obturator externus muscle is also attached to the anterior surface of the body of the pubis. So this body of the pubis is anterior surface of the body of the pubis is providing attachment to the muscles like adductor longus, gracilis, adductor brevis, and obturator externus. See, these nomenclature will be a little bit difficult for you, okay, because you are exposing to this kind of nomenclature because this is very new to you, right? So in order to get familiar with this terminology, it is the only way is you need to practice. You need to practice by writing and also practice by reading the muscle names. That will make you feel comfortable and you also feel free to pronunciate the terms what we're coming across. So the anterior surface of the body of the pubis is giving origin to adductor longus, gracilis, adductor brevis, and obturator externus muscles. Then coming to the posterior surface, this is the posterior surface of the body of the pubis. This is anterior surface, and this is the posterior surface of the body of the pubis. The posterior surface of the body of the pubis, if you see, this surface is also called as pelvic surface. It is also called as pelvic because it is towards the pelvic inlet. So this is the pelvic surface. The posterior surface of the body of the pubis is also called as pelvic surface, and it is directed upwards and backwards. It is directed upwards and backwards. And not only that, this surface of the body of the pubis is related to a visceral organ, which is urinary bladder. So it is related to the urinary bladder. And not only that, this surface of the pubis, the body of the pubis, is giving origin to two muscles. One is levator ani muscle, and number two is the obturator internus muscle. You can see here in the slide, this is a posterior surface of the body of the pubis, and from here you are seeing this muscle is taking origin, and this muscle is the levator ani muscle, which forms the pelvic diaphragm, which is one of the muscle which is forming the pelvic diaphragm, and this muscle is called as levator ani muscle. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
So the posterior surface of the body of the pubis is called as pelvic surface. This surface is related to the urinary bladder, and this surface is giving attachment to two muscles. One is the levator ani muscle. Number two is the obturator internus muscle. And this surface is directed how? Upwards and backwards. It is directed upwards and backwards. This is about the posterior surface. Now coming to the medial surface. Now this is the medial surface. See, this is anterior surface. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
This is posterior surface. This is medial surface. So this medial surface is also called as symphyseal surface, and this surface joins with the other. See here, this is anterior surface. This is symphyseal surface. The symphyseal surface is articulating with the opposite hip bone to form a secondary cartilaginous joint, which is called as pubic symphysis. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
sir.
Yeah. So medial surface is also called as symphyseal surface. Now this is all about the pubis, the body of the pubis. See, the very first slide I told you that the pubis has got three parts. One is the body of the pubis. Number two is the superior ramus. Number three is the inferior ramus. Now I have discussed about the body of the pubis. This body of the pubis, in this I told you, it has got pubic crest, it has got pubic tubercle, and this body has got three surfaces: anterior surface, posterior surface, and medial surface. This is all about the body of the pubis. Now we will discuss about the superior ramus of the pubis. This one. This is superior ramus. This is inferior ramus. This is body. This is body. This is superior ramus. This is inferior ramus. This part is inferior ramus. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I'll talk about the superior ramus. Now what is superior ramus? The superior ramus, it extends from the body of the pubis. So it is extending from body of pubis or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It is extending from the body of the pubis to what? What is this?
Acetabular fossa.
Acetabulum.
Exactly. This is acetabular fossa. So the superior ramus, it is extending from the body of the pubis to the acetabulum. It is extending up to the acetabulum. Is it clear? And not only that, it is located above the, what is this foramen?
Obturator.
Obturator foramen.
Obturator foramen. This is located above the obturator foramen. Isn't it or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is situated above the obturator foramen. Then this superior ramus, it has got three borders. One is the pectineal line. One is the pectineal line. Number two is the obturator crest. Number three is the inferior border. Inferior border. So what are the three borders it has got? One is pectinate line. One is pectinate line. Number two is obturator crest. Number three is inferior border. These are the three borders of the superior ramus. And not only that, it has got three surfaces. One is the pectineal surface. Number two is the pelvic surface. Number three is the obturator surface. We will talk about all these things in detail in the coming slides. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is this pectinate line? This pectinate line is also called as pecten pubis. It is also called as pecten pubis. And this pectinate line, it extends from the pubic tubercle to the posterior part of iliopubic eminence. This one. So from the pubic tubercle, if you move your finger medially, you will see a tubercle over here. This is an eminence which is called as iliopubic eminence. Between the ilium and the pubis, there is a tubercle. There is an eminence. This is called as iliopubic eminence. So this ridge, see, I can feel that sharp ridge. This is called as the pectinate line, or this is also called as pecten pubis, which is extending from, which is extending from the pubic tubercle to the iliopubic eminence. Can you see this sharp ridge?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you see here this one? This one, yeah.
Yes, sir.
This is called as pecten pubis. So when you hold the bone in position, you can see this line, very sharp line. You can see on the upper part of the superior ramus, and this is called as the pecten pubis. Now this pectinate line is also called as pecten pubis, and this receives attachment of conjoint tendon again. And not only that, it also receives a ligament, which is the lacunar ligament. Lacunar ligament. See, this is the lacunar ligament. The whole extent of this pectinate line or pectineal line will give attachment to this ligament, which is called as lacunar ligament. So throughout its length, the lacunar ligament is attached to the pecten pubis throughout its length. So is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And not only that, the psoas minor muscle. The psoas minor muscle is attached to this pectinate line. Pectineal line. Psoas major muscle. So psoas major muscle is attached. Lacunar ligament is attached. There is a ligament which is called as pectineal ligament also. Pectineal ligament. That ligament will also get attached to this pectineal line. Is it clear, everybody? So pectinate line is nothing but which is a prominent border on the superior ramus of the pubis, and this is also called as pecten pubis, and this will give attachment to the conjoint tendon. This will give attachment to lacunar ligament. This will give attachment to the pectineal ligament. And not only that, this also gives attachment to a muscle which is psoas minor, not major, psoas minor muscle. All these things are in related to this line, which is called as pectineal line. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Pectineal line. Yeah. Next is what?
Yes.
Obturator crest. This obturator crest is also called as anterior border. Now, can you see this one?
Yes, sir.
See, this is anterior. Pectinate is here, this one. This is pectinate line. Is it clear? See, I am rotating it for you for your clear. This is pectinate line, and I'll show you the anterior border now. This one. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the obturator crest. This is the obturator crest. So this obturator crest is also called as anterior border. And what is the next point? It extends from the pubic tubercle. It extends from the pubic tubercle to acetabular notch. It is extended from pubic tubercle to the acetabular notch. This is the anterior border, or this is called as the obturator crest. Obturator crest. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's the next one? Inferior border. This one. Can you see my finger?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is inferior border. So inferior border is forming what?
Obturator foramen.
Upper border of obturator foramen. This is upper border, right?
Yes, sir.
The inferior border of the what do you call the superior ramus is forming the upper border of obturator foramen. It forms upper border of obturator foramen. So these are the three borders of the superior ramus. I repeat, pectinate line or pectineal line, then obturator crest, and inferior border. These are the three borders of the superior ramus. Okay, now we have three surfaces also. So what are the three surfaces? The three surfaces are, number one is pectineal surface. This pectineal surface is situated between the obturator crest and pectineal line. Now everybody, I am making it very clear. This is pectinate line, yes or no? Pectineal line.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is anterior border. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Between this pectineal line and this anterior border, there is a surface. This surface is called as pectineal surface. So between the obturator crest and the pectineal line, we have a surface, and this surface is called as pectineal surface. And this pectineal surface is triangular in shape, and this surface will give attachment to the pectineus muscle. It gives attachment to the pectineus muscle. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Pectineus muscle. That's all about the pectineal surface. You can see in the slide. Are you able to see in the slide this one?
Yes, sir.
This border is the obturator crest. This border is the pectineal line. So between this pectineal line and this obturator crest, you have this surface. This surface is almost, or it is triangular in shape. So this surface is giving origin to this muscle, which is called as pectineus muscle. Pectineus muscle. What's the next is the pelvic surface. The pelvic surface is between the pectineal line and the inferior border. Now everybody see here, I'm showing you the pelvic surface. See, this is the pectineal line. This is inferior border. Yes. And this surface is the pelvic surface. This surface is the, see, this is the pelvic surface of body of pubis. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the pelvic surface or posterior surface of body of pubis. Now, if I move my finger like this, now this is the posterior surface or pelvic surface of superior ramus, which is between the pectineal line and the inferior border. Between the inferior border and the pectineal line, there is a surface you can appreciate, and this surface is called as the pelvic surface. And this pelvic surface of the superior ramus of the pubis is related to the ductus deferens in male, ductus deferens or vas deferens in male, and round ligament of uterus in case of females. Sorry, it was written remale, it is female. Okay, is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
So ductus deferens in males and round ligament of uterus in females. That's all about the pelvic surface. And finally, we have one surface which is obturator surface. This obturator surface is between the obturator crest and inferior border. This one. See, this is anterior border. This is anterior border is also called as obturator crest. And this is inferior border. Between this obturator crest and inferior border, you are seeing a surface again. And this surface is called as obturator surface. And through this obturator surface, you see the obturator nerve and vessels will traverse. Obturator nerve and vessels will traverse through this obturator surface. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Up to now, any doubts about the superior ramus or the body of the ramus, body of the pubis? May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
No
sir.
doubt. Yeah. Now we're talking about the inferior ramus. I have discussed with you people about the body of the pubis, then the superior ramus of the pubis. Now I will discuss about this part, which is the inferior ramus. The inferior ramus of the pubis, it extends from the body of the pubis to the ramus of ischium. Can you see here in this picture? This is the ramus of ischium, green color one. Are you able to follow the cursor?
Yes, sir.
So the inferior ramus, it is extending from the body of the pubis to the ramus of the ischium. So here in between, you see there is a joint between the inferior ramus of the pubis and the ramus of ischium. This is the ramus of ischium. Both will get joined. Okay, they get articulated with each other. Now this here, this inferior ramus is extending from the body of the pubis to the ramus of the ischium. It joins ramus of ischium to form conjoint ischiopubic ramus. You got it now? This inferior ramus, it is joining with the ramus of the ischium to form ischiopubic ramus. Now what we call this as now? Is my voice is audible?
Conjoined.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now this this is formed. This ramus is formed by two things. It is formed by the ramus of pubis. It is formed by ramus of ischium. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Both ramuses are joined to form conjoint. They are together, they are forming this ramus. Hence, it is called as ischiopubic ramus. So, the inferior ramus of the pubis, it extends from the body of the pubis to the ramus of ischium. It joins the ramus of ischium to form a conjoint ischiopubic rami. So, this is the inferior ramus of the pubis, and this is the ramus of the ischium. Okay, both these two things will join and forms ischiopubic rami or ramus, ischiopubic ramus. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now we will talk about the ischium. This is the ischium. This part. Can you see this one?
Yes, sir.
Yesterday we have discussed about this ilium. Just now we have discussed about this pubis, and now we are going to discuss about this part which is called as ischium. So ilium, ischium, pubis, all these three things will fuse to form the hip bone. Okay, so now I'm talking about the ischium. May I proceed?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The ischium is the posterior-inferior part of the hip bone. Yes, it is present posteriorly. It is present inferiorly. So this ischium is the posterior-inferior part of the hip bone, and it contributes 2/5 of acetabulum. See, this acetabulum is contributed by ilium. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's contributed by pubis. 1/5.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 2/5 of this acetabulum is again contributed by the ischium. So 2/5 of ilium, 2/5 of ischium, and 1/5 of pubis will contribute to form this acetabular fossa. This acetabular fossa. You can see in the picture also. 2/5 of ilium, 2/5 of ischium, 1/5 of pubis. All these things will contribute to form this acetabulum. And not only that, this ischium comprises of two things. One, a body, two, a ramus. It has got a body, it has got a ramus. So ischium has got what parts? It has got two parts. One is body of the ischium, ramus of the ischium. We will discuss about this body.
हाँ क्या रे
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I'm not able to unmute it. Mute it.
Who is this? Jairaj Doda. Okay. Now here, so this acetabulum is contributed by the ilium, ischium, and the pubis. Is it clear, everybody? And this ischium has got two parts. One is the body of the ischium and the ramus of the ischium. Are you able to follow? This is the body of the ischium, and this is the ramus of the ischium. This entire thing is the body, and this is the ramus. Now the body of the ischium. Now this body of the ischium, if you see, this is very thick. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, this body of the ischium, this is the body of the ischium. This is very thick. It is very solid. This is very thick. Okay. And it lies below and posterior to acetabulum. Yes or no? It is present below the acetabulum,
Yes, sir.
posterior to acetabulum.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So this body of the ischium is very thick. It lies below the acetabulum and as well as posterior to the acetabulum. And this body has got two ends. One is the upper end. This is the upper end. And number two is the lower end. It has got upper end and the lower end. It has got three borders. One is the anterior border. Number two is the posterior border. And number three is the lateral border. So this body of the ischium has got two ends, upper end, lower end. Then it has got three borders, anterior, posterior, lateral, and three surfaces, femoral, dorsal, and pelvic surfaces. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming to the ends, if you talk about the upper end of the ischium, it is forming the 2/5 of the acetabulum. So the upper end, you see here this green color structure. See, this is entire thing is ischium. This green color entire thing is ischium. So upper end is contributing to form the acetabulum or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So the upper end of ischium is contributing about 2/5 of the acetabular fossa. Then coming to the lower end, if you see the lower end of the ischium, this is the lower end of ischium. This is the lower end up to, this is upper end and this is the lower end. The lower end of the ischium, it forms a ischial tuberosity. Now everybody, this is ischial tuberosity. The lower end of the ischium is, this is the ischial tuberosity, okay, on which we sit. So when we sit on this tuberosity, which is ischial tuberosity. So the lower end forms the ischial tuberosity, and the inferior ramus, this is inferior ramus, yes or no? This is inferior ramus.
Yes. Yes,
Ah.
sir.
So this ramus is arising from lower end, yes or no? From
Yes, sir.
From the lower
Yes,
end
sir.
from the lower end of ischium, this ramus is arising. So the ramus, the ischial ramus is arising from its lower end. So upper end is contributed in formation of the acetabulum, lower end is forming ischial tuberosity, and the ischial ramus is also arising from the lower end. Next, the ischial tuberosity, if you see this ischial tuberosity, now the posterior, but this is ischial tuberosity, which is this one, which you are seeing from here, this one. So this one, this posterior part of the ischial body of the ischium, lower end, is called as ischial tuberosity. Now this ischial tuberosity, here if you see on the slide, this ischial tuberosity is divided by a horizontal ridge, into a upper quadrilateral and lower triangular area. Can you see here this ridge?
Yes, sir.
So this entire ischial tuberosity is divided into upper quadrilateral area and lower triangular area by a horizontal ridge. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is a line diagram here also. This is the horizontal ridge, which is dividing into upper area, quadrilateral area, and lower triangular area. Okay. I think this is not clearly, you can see. Like this, you will see a ridge. This is upper area, this is lower area. Lower area will be triangular. Apple? Apple? One moment. Now here, this one. See, this is the ischial tuberosity. I'll mark it. Can you see now like this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now this entire ischial tuberosity is divided by a horizontal ridge like this. Into upper quadrilateral area and lower triangular area. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this entire ischial tuberosity is divided into two areas, the upper and lower areas, by a horizontal ridge. Upper area is quadrilateral in shape, lower area is triangular in shape. The upper area is divided by a diagonal line into upper lateral and lower medial areas. Again, if you make out, again this upper area is divided into two areas by a diagonal line. Here also in the slide you can see. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it is divided into the upper lateral area. This is upper lateral area. This is lower medial area. Okay. Because if you hold the bone in position, this area is lateral because acetabulum will face laterally. And this lower area is medial area. So a diagonal line will further divide this upper quadrilateral area into two areas. One, the upper lateral, and two lower medial areas. Then a longitudinal ridge subdivides the lower triangular area into outer and inner areas. Again, if you see, this triangular area is again divided into outer and inner areas. Okay, here you can see. This is the triangular area. This longitudinal ridge is dividing into, this is outer area, this is inner area. This is lateral, this is medial. This is lateral, this is medial. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So here, this ischial tuberosity is giving attachment to some muscles. So the upper quadrilateral area, if you see, the upper quadrilateral area, it gives origin to the muscles like semimembranosus, okay, semimembranosus, semitendinosus, and also it gives origin to the biceps femoris. Biceps femoris. Is it clear? So this area, this quadrilateral area, the upper quadrilateral area of ischial tuberosity, it gives origin to muscles. This lateral area will give origin for the semimembranosus. This medial area will give origin for the semitendinosus and the biceps femoris, and to the biceps femoris, long head of biceps femoris, long head of biceps femoris. Are you able to see the muscle attachments on the slide? Can you see this one?
Yes, sir.
This is for the semimembranosus, this area, which is upper lateral area. Lower medial area will provide origin for semitendinosus and long head of biceps femoris, not biceps brachii. Biceps brachii is a muscle of arm. Biceps femoris muscle. And if you see the lower triangular area, this lower triangular area is again divided into two. One is outer area, inner area by a longitudinal ridge. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This outer area of the lower triangular part, it also gives again origin to a muscle which is adductor magnus muscle. Adductor magnus muscle. And the medial area, it is it is presented with the fat. The medial area will be what you have the fibro fatty tissue. The inner part of the triangular area, it doesn't give origin to any muscle, but this area will be covered with fibro fatty tissue, and this part supports the body weight while sitting. So this area is covered by what? Fibro fatty tissue, and this area is supporting a person when
Sitting.
when you sit on the ischial tuberosity, and the weight of the body will be in this area. Inner part of the lower triangular area is a weight bearing when you sit on the ischial tuberosity, so that this area is not giving origin to any muscle, and this area is containing the fibrofatty tissue, and this supports the body weight when you sit. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is about the lower end. Then coming to the borders. Okay. Two ends completed. Upper and lower end are done. Now coming to the borders. This ischial tuber, this ischial part of the hip bone, it has got borders. The posterior border. The posterior border, it is continuous with posterior border of ilium. So this is the posterior border of ilium. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this posterior border of the ischium, it is continuous with the posterior border of the ilium. It continues like this. You see here? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Follow my cursor. You will get the idea. So this is the posterior border of the ilium. And now this is the posterior border of the ischium, the blue line. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It presents a spine called ischial spine. Can you see the spine here?
Yes, sir.
Here also you can see. Yes? Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the ischial spine. This is the ischial spine. And this ischial spine, this gives attachment to a ligament which is called as sacrospinous ligament. It gives attachment to a ligament. What is it? Sacrospinous ligament. And not only that, this posterior border, it also gives origin to the muscles like coccygeus and levator ani muscles. Coccygeus and levator. So this spine, this ischial spine, it is providing attachment to a ligament which is called as sacrospinous ligament. Not only that, this spine, this ischial spine is also giving origin to two muscles. One is coccygeus muscle. Number two is the levator ani muscle will arise from this spine. Not only that, this ischial spine forms the lower border of the greater sciatic notch. Now this is the greater sciatic notch. Can you see this one? This notch.
Yes, sir.
This notch is called as greater sciatic notch. This one. Can you able to see here this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is greater sciatic notch. Okay. And this is lesser sciatic notch. This is lesser sciatic notch. So this ischial spine is forming the lower border of greater sciatic notch. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is all about the posterior border. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
And not only that, there are some structures which passes through the greater sciatic notch and lesser sciatic notch that we will discuss later, not now. Okay. This greater sciatic notch and lesser sciatic notch, both these notches are converted into foramens by the attachments of ligaments like sacrotuberous ligament and sacrospinous ligaments. Sacrospinous and sacrotuberous, both these two ligaments will convert this notches into foramen. Okay. And through these foramens, you see some structures will pass. Okay. So structures passing through greater sciatic foramen, if you see from the greater sciatic foramen, this is greater sciatic foramen. From the greater sciatic foramen, you see the structures passing like piriformis muscle, okay, superior gluteal vessels and nerves, okay. Then not only that, you also see the obturator internus nerve. Obturator internus nerve will be passed. Pudendal nerve, okay, pudendal nerve. Then internal pudendal vessels, superior gluteal vessels and nerves, pudendal nerve to obturator internus, pudendal nerve, internal pudendal vessels, sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerve also passes through the greater sciatic foramen, and posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh will also pass through the greater sciatic foramen. So all these things again we can study later on, but as of now you try to keep in your mind that greater sciatic foramen, lesser sciatic foramen, both these greater sciatic notch, lesser sciatic notch, both these notches are converted into foramens by sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments, and some structures passes from the greater sciatic foramen and some structures passes to lesser sciatic foramen, that we will discuss later on. Next, the anterior border. The anterior border of the what do you call the ischium forms what? It is forming what? The anterior border of the ischium is forming the posterior border of the
Obturator foramen.
obturator foramen. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The lateral border is one border which you have. This is the lateral border. This lateral border, it continues with the ischial tuberosity. The lateral border, it is a continuation with the ischial tuberosity. That's it. So that's all about the borders. Then coming to the surfaces, this has got three surfaces. One is the femoral surface. This surface is femoral surface because this is acetabular fossa. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Acetabular fossa receives the head of the femur. It receives the head of the femur and forms hip joint. So this surface is lying between the femur and, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that this is related to the femur bone. So this surface is called as femoral surface. Femoral surface. And this femoral surface will give origin to a muscle which is called as obturator externus. Obturator
External.
this femoral surface will give origin to a muscle which is called as obturator externus. Okay. And not only that, the quadratus femoris. The quadratus femoris also will be taking origin from this surface. Quadratus femoris. Quadratus femoris. That's about the femoral surface. Then we have the dorsal surface. Now the dorsal surface, if you see the dorsal surface, yeah. This is the dorsal surface. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
This is the dorsal surface of the ischium. And this dorsal surface of ischium is continuous with the gluteal surface of ilium. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The dorsal surface of ischium will continue with the gluteal surface of the ilium. And not only that, this dorsal surface will have three areas. Okay, it is related to the piriformis sciatic nerve above. Okay, it has got three areas. One is are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this this dorsal surface, if you see, the dorsal surface is having three areas. One is the upper area, number two is the middle area, number three is the lower area. Okay, the upper area is related to the the sciatic nerve, the piriformis muscle, and also quadratus femoris muscle. In the middle, this area is related to the obturator internus with two gemelli muscles. In the lower part, this area will be related to the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and long head of biceps femoris. So when you make this dorsal surface of the ischium into three parts, upper part, middle part, lower part, Upper part is related to the piriformis sciatic nerve. Okay.
Quadratus femoris.
Quadratus femoris. In the middle, this area, in the middle, this dorsal surface is related to the obturator internus with two gemelli muscles. In the lower part, this surface is related to the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and as well as the long head of biceps femoris muscle. Okay. Then the pelvic surface. The pelvic surface is this one. This is the pelvic surface. Can you see this area? This is the pelvic surface. The pelvic surface, which gives origin to the obturator internus. Obturator internus. This is the pelvic surface. So pelvic surface will give origin for the obturator internus muscle. Okay. So we have how many surfaces? Three surfaces. This is the femoral surface. This is the dorsal surface. This is the pelvic surface. So pelvic surface will continue with the pelvic surface of William. And not only that, the pelvic surface will give origin for the obturator internus muscle. Obturator internus muscle. This is all about the body of the ischium. Then coming to the ramus. This ramus of ischium is this one. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This ramus of ischium, again, it has got two borders. One is upper border, number two is lower border. Two surfaces, one is outer surface, inner surface. See, this is upper border. This is lower border. This is outer surface. This is inner surface. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Coming to the upper border. This upper border forms the lower margin of obturator foramen. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And not only that, this gives attachment to a membrane which is called as obturator membrane. Obturator membrane. Okay. Coming to the lower border. This is the lower border. This lower border, it is everted. Yes, it is quietly twisted. It is everted. Okay. And it is more marked in males when compared with the females. And to this, you see the fascia lata is attached. The fascia lata is attached to this lower border. And it is more marked or more prominent you see in case of the males when compared to the females. Coming to the outer surface. The outer surface of the ischium of ramus of the ischium, this outer surface is concave, and this gives attachment to the muscles like obturator externus, adductor magnus, adductor brevis, gracilis. This surface, can you see here? This surface is concave, and this is related to the muscles like obturator externus, adductor magnus, adductor brevis, then the gracilis. All these muscles are taking origin from the the outer surface of the ramus of the ischium. Okay. The inner surface, this is the inner surface. The inner surface is convex. It is convex, and not only that, it has two ridges. It has two ridges and three areas. The upper area, it has it gives attachment to the obturator internus. The middle area will be related to the sphincter urethrae muscles and transversus perineum muscle. The lower area will give origin for the ischiocavernosus and crus of penis. This is the inner area, which is convex, and which has got three areas: upper, middle, and lower. Upper area will be in relation with the levator ani muscle and obturator internus. In the middle, you have the sphincter urethrae muscle and transversus perineum muscle. And in the very lower area, you have the ischiocavernosus muscle. All these three are seen on the inner aspect of, or the inner surface of the ramus of the ischium. So this is all about the ischium, body, and the ramus. And now coming to the ossification, just note down that this hip bone is made up of, it is ossified. It is ossified by three primary centers. One center for the ilium, one center for the ischium, and one center for the pubis. Ilium primary center appears at 2nd month, ischium center appears at 3rd month, pubis center appears at the 4th month in intrauterine life. The secondary centers appear. There are 5 secondary centers. One is, what do you call, 2 for the iliac crest, 2 for the acetabular fossa, and 1 is for the ischial tuberosity. Okay. All these secondary centers will appear after birth at puberty, at the age of puberty, and all these ossifications will complete their fusion with the other bones at the age between 20 to 25 years of old. Okay. This is all about the hip bone. And in the hip bone, acetabulum, already I told you, acetabulum is nothing but which is a cup-like structure, which is a cup-shaped deep concavity you see in the lateral aspect of the hip bone. And this acetabulum is formed by the contribution from ilium, ischium, and pubis. And this acetabular fossa is meant to articulate with the head of the femur to form the hip joint. Okay. And obturator foramen, you see the obturator foramen, you already seen. Now this is the obturator foramen. This obturator foramen is nothing but which is the gap between the pubis and the ischium. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is the obturator foramen. This is a gap between the pubis and the ischium. And this obturator membrane, obturator foramen, is closed by obturator membrane. And this obturator membrane will allow to traverse the obturator vessels and nerves to transmit through it. This is all about the hip bone. Clear? So what you do is that, like yesterday, today also you please open the book, read about the pubis and ischium also, so that you will get an idea about what we have discussed for the past 1 hour or 10 minutes. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
The same way, if you have any doubts encountering regarding this class, you can ask me, you can post me your doubts in the group, so that I will definitely see that the doubts will be clarified. Clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do take care of yourself. Situation is very worst and bad. Take care. Do not step out of your home. Try to be very smart in maintaining the precautions to get rid of this pandemic situation. I hope you all doing good and wish you all the best. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
sir.
Thank you. Now you can leave the session.